So there's a bit of graphite powder in this little bin because that's what I always work over. Graphite powder, when you're puffing it around the place, 5% of it goes where you want it to and the rest goes anywhere it wants to instead. So hold back that catch. Is that cocked? That's cocked. Hold back that catch with my finger. I should be able to move this backwards and forwards. Yeah. That'll probably do. And we're going to blow that powder out. Now if I position my blade actuating ring into the blade's open position by shifting it, there we go, that's in the blade's open position, and I can start putting my blades back in place. That's the top. Where are we? So what do we want? We want this plate, this plate, this plate. I haven't cleaned this plate yet. I better do that before I get carried away. That's the moving plate that would also open up the blades into the viewing position. I just haven't cleaned it yet. And this drops on where? Is it there? Oh, I can tell. It's got a cutout in it. It's right there. Why all the fuss? Where's my block of wood? There it is. Move that forward, otherwise I'll be off camera. With that thing in the closed position and the blade actuating ring in the open position, that's right, the blade should be in the open position, and I start at this position here, like that. You can forget half the rubbish I've been telling you for the last 10 minutes because I basically hadn't been assembling it correctly. I'm just checking this off, making sure that's... So I've got everything there in the blade's open position, and this is the secret. This plate goes on first. The blades go on top of that plate, not underneath it. And I blame you jokers, because if I hadn't been talking to you I would have known what I was doing and everything would have gone smoothly. So let's put all this together now. And it should go, work fine, just like I bought one. And I'll have no further problems from it. That's the theory. Let's see if I'm correct. There's a cover blade. I couldn't figure out why things just weren't moving as smoothly as they should do. What an idiot. Anyway, let's get this plate on top. If I hold that between my fingers so it doesn't fall to bits. Where's there? There. You see anything? Yeah, you can just see it. There you go. It's all moving smoothly. So that was just because I had things asked about face. Never mind. These things are sent to try us. There's a reason I hate these. So we have to get this into the case. It's always entertaining. If there was any justice in the world, these parts would be screwed together before you do this, but there ain't. I want to be about here somewhere. How do I get there? I've got to go there that way. Can't quite pull that lever over the front of the case. I don't know, it might be bent. Now one of the blades is fallen out of position. We're back where we started. Just out of interest, will this go in the case? The position of that lever was my problem. Also out of interest, is it possible to assemble the rest of it while that piece is in the case? Let's find out. I may have been fighting with this for no good reason. That should be blades open. Well, this has been an exercise in carefully explaining how not to do the job more than one of telling you how to do the job. But I suppose the important thing is if it all works at the end of the day, we're better off. Of course, if I get exceptionally embarrassed about the bloody mess I've made of the job, you just never get to see the video. Now, will that go together? Which way is that camera pointing? Anywhere but the right way. Why won't that screw pick up? Okay. Success, I think. Just check that everything's where it should be. Springs in the right positions. That's good. So where's my detent spring for the blade actuating ring? Get that in position. That sits over here. If we get that in position, I'll release the shutter and we'll see if the blades open and close as they should. And if I press 3, hold that in the closed position, press the shutter release, and the shutter released. What a business. So in summary, what was it I was doing wrong? Well, the first thing I was doing wrong was I had the blades underneath the intermediate plate, and they should have been on top of the intermediate plate. Now that's working exactly as it should. That was also the reason that my control rings were so tight. They wouldn't possibly move because I had them trapped on the blades effectively. I'll get this spring in position. This spring holds the clip in place, and that clip in turn holds the self timer in the locked position until the shutter fires, in which case it moves again so that it's not automatically set for the second exposure, only the first. This is a bit of an act to get into position. Just to best cock that shutter. I think that'll be easier to work with. Doesn't matter whether the blades are open or closed. I'll get that screw started. I'll lift that spring over. That's it. Lift that into position. Oh, can I do it? Just get that screwed down tight. So basically what happens is, blades are closed. If you set the self timer by holding that lever in, this lever in, shifting that, it latches in position behind here. As soon as the shutter releases, this comes around, lifts that catch and allows this to come back. Because it's under spring tension at that point, there's a spring under here, underneath that lever that you can't see past. Oh, that's all good. There's now a chance I'll get this thing finished today and hopefully back with its owner before too long. No, I've got to assemble the whole shutter before I put it on the camera. Because of the way the shafts run right through from the front plate through to the back plate and then are coupled to gears there, I can't just put this piece back into the camera body and build it up in there. It just can't work. Alright, well the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take my retard gear train and my self timer, and I'm going to put them in the ultrasonic cleaner, give them 10 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner in some naphtha, and then come back and finish assembling this shutter. Right, get into this a little bit further I suppose. I'll just cock that shutter. I want this open on B. Yeah. That flash lever here, the one that didn't want to come out when I was taking the shutter apart. Get that positioned in there. Where's that lever? I want that over there. No, I want it the other way. Yep. Why is that sitting around there? Oh, it's that bloody thing. Okay. Put that spring on there first, otherwise I keep getting a false impression that the shutter was open on B when it was not open on B at all. Now let's try that again. Now it's held open on B. Now that flash lever will swing up out of the way. Now I can get the spring round behind that flash lever. That's better. That's in place. Now this flash contact has to go in under here. There's a little rivet on the back of it which has to fit into a hole in the mechanism plate. And it's always a bugger to get seated. That's it. And on top of that contact goes the standoff. And on top of the standoff goes the lever. And holding the lever, the standoff and the flash contact to the mechanism plate goes the screw. That looks good, and I'll just test that, cock the shutter, let that roll round onto the B setting, check what's happening with my flash contact, and the flash contact is not making because it's bent down slightly and it's sticking. Okay, let's try that again. That looks better. It's sitting a bit high if anything. Checking that's free. It's not catching on anything, that's good. It means the flash will work. I think the retard gear train can just about go in next. And the self-timer here too. So what I'll do is I'll just lubricate these with a bit of graphite powder.